Your attention, please. And now, on with the show.
Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger, and this is another edition of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film. And right now I have a wonderful panel of guests. I have Alan Knittel, Tony Dionisio, and Chris Kozak. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Great. We're good.
Real good.
Well, welcome to the show. And first off, I just want to start things off by thanking everybody because you guys are my first interviewees during the pandemic. So I want to thank you so much for your time tonight.
It's our
Thank you
pleasure.
for having us.
Yeah. So guys, you're all very professional. You're creative. How did you all meet, and what has been your journey up until this point?
Tony.
Wow, that's a great question. So I met Alan in a screenwriting meetup group. We got together. We met. The group didn't last very long, but we continued to talk. And we both realized that getting your screenplay made into a movie is much more difficult than it sounds. So we decided to get into, kind of amateur filmmaking, do some shorts and try and cut our teeth with that. In the meantime, getting together on our first short, we met Chris, also at a meetup group. And Chris came in with a lot more experience than we had. Came right in and kind of showed us what to do.
Okay.
I think we were. The problem was when we were screenwriters, we went through this period where we were writing screenplays, trying to get them reviewed, trying to get a forum where we could get them reviewed, and screenwriting meetups. There were a few of them on Long Island at this point, but a lot of our angst at that point was trying to get past the gatekeepers, not throwing the screenplay over the wall and having readers reject them for reasons we didn't really understand, and satisfying that whole bunch of gatekeepers. So we decided at that point, well, let's write some shorts.
Okay.
And let's maybe even film the shorts, maybe even almost do pitches. But we noticed, we knew we had to get a lot of experience and practice before we even were up to that point. We were creating a pitch.
Right.
So, and there were also limited places for us to meet with studios. I mean, there was New York, but there was LA, and people were saying, well, you have to live out in LA to really take a meeting, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, we were just not that experienced in trying to do that. So we needed to take a journey. We knew that.
Now, which film was this first adventure in?
You mean in terms of filming a short, or filming one of our screenplays, which were always features?
The short.
The short came about. We had an idea for a short after we met Chris.
Okay.
So we were still in meetup land, and Tony actually met Chris at another meetup, which is fairly well attended here.
Okay.
And Chris, I'll let you speak to maybe why you were there and your journey from commercial to trying to do a narrative.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. Chris?
So what's the question? There's three or four questions there. Where did we meet? Tony and I met
right.
at a Long Island creative meetup in Huntington. And he had done this short film with a couple of drones where the Long Island murders were taking place, or the bodies were dumped on the beach, Gildo Beach.
And I loved it. I loved that film. I love what he did. And I just told him, keep going, keep going. And I said, I have a drone. So we got together and we started flying drones and doing cool stuff with drones and getting drone shots. And then I met Alan, and I met a couple other people in this, in the posse.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan and Tony were doing this short film. And Tony said, you want to come? And I was like, anytime I can get on a film set, yeah, I'm there. So I showed up. It was in this guy's living room. We turned it into an office.
So that was Life is Good.
That was Life is Good.
That was Life is Good,
Yeah.
which was the first short. And we had to build an office in someone's living room.
Right.
I remember asking them, I said, how many, this is halfway in. I said, well, they were arguing about what to do and what shots to get. And I said, well, what if you did that? And they were like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And what if you did this? And then halfway into it, I said, how many of these have you done? And Alan said, what do you mean? I said, how many films have you produced? He goes, this is the first one. And I was like, oh, that's great. And you know what? I wound up editing that. I co-directed that with Tony, and I wound up editing it. And it really is a great little piece.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific film.
Oh, Life is Good? Yeah, definitely.
Terrific.
That's actually, I over the weekend, I watched all the shorts on the website that Tony provided for me. And Life is Good was actually my favorite, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah, well, we're glad to hear that because that was our first short.
Yeah.
It was the first time we got everybody together, the crew, which we had picked up in various meetups. And essentially, the actors that are in that short were, I don't know where we met them. They were at a meetup as well, right? That's
We didn't know anybody.
We didn't know anybody.
Oh, and then the day of, we needed voiceover people, and people just started calling their friends, and it wound up to be really good.
It was.
To talk about guerrilla filmmaking, we did not have voiceover talent, and we had to call. I know that the owner of the house had called a neighbor down the street, and she volunteered, and she came over within 5 minutes, and on the spot, we recorded her because part of the short was it was a suicide hotline, and people were calling in. So there were 3 people we had to press into service to do the voiceovers on the phone.
I see.
We basically, Alan had gotten this camera for Christmas. This was a couple of months after.
Was that the body camera? The body apparatus?
No, that was for the other film. I didn't have the Steadicam till later. This was just my first real professional camera, and I had got it on set, and I had it on a tripod, but it was on a gimbal, and it was kind of slowly tilting. And Chris came to me and said, how long have you been using this camera? And I said, I just opened it for Christmas. and I had been using it for all of maybe an hour, maybe the night before. But we pressed on. I made some calibrations, and, we survived.
It worked.
It worked.
Okay. And this is kind of a general question for all 3 of you. But what are some of the major challenges you guys face when bringing your stories to screen? Chris?
Talent, crew, and, funding.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest hurdle, I'm sure.
Number one is really where's the money coming from and who's putting up the money and what can we do for how little and, how much can we get for nothing?
Right.
How can we make what we need to without putting out money? And really one of the biggest expenses is feeding people.
Yeah.
Yeah. We promised good food.
Tony, the last film we did, Tony did a spread that was like any major film set. Terrific.
Oh, really?
Out of this world. It was at a yacht club with a kitchen.
Nice.
In the main house, yeah. And we brought everything imaginable in to feed. I guess our crew was, 13, 14 people?
We were up there.
We were up there. Yeah, that was...
it was more than that.
It was more than that.
Yeah, it was right around 20 people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Our slogan now is food for film.
Simple but effective.
Yeah,
Um,
and in the early years, we weren't paying anybody, but this production, the last one, Entanglement, we really did need. We discovered, well, you know what? We're not going to get any motivation or even commitment from people until you pay them, and then we did pay, not ourselves, but we paid the talent. We had a real director of photography. We had a director. We paid them, and we got the first really time we got location insurance.
Okay.
Because we need that as well because we were at the yacht club.
Right.
Yeah.
Tony, I wanted to actually ask you about The Chill, this project you're working on. Can you just briefly tell everybody about it?
Sure. Going from shorts to a feature film, I basically had to say, how can I make a feature? So let me start by writing one as simple as possible. The content that we've been doing for our shorts was kind of, little scenes here and there that were kind of expanded into a short, but not really the genre that I like to write in, or the genre that I like to watch, which is more in sci-fi, horror type of genre.
Yeah.
So that, of course, requires a lot of money. So I kept kind of, for a few years now, I kept kind of writing a story that I believe that I can film with locally and with as little amount of talent as I possibly can. And The Chill is a sci-fi horror, kind of a kind of clone of, maybe not a clone, but kind of on the lines of The Thing or Alien, in the fact that it's a horror sci-fi, and there's a little bit of survival mixed with some relevant present day scenarios, such as the main character is female. She basically, right from page one, she awakens. She's in a pod with her family. Half the family, her parents are dead. She has to take care of her brother, and they are on an ice planet. This is 500 years in the future, and they want to go to seek shelter in an abandoned mining facility that's inhabited by a creature.
Okay.
So as this takes place, we shift from survival into more of a sci-fi type of, and even a horror type of a story, where she has to, play a little cat and mouse game with this creature. We're keeping all of the amount of cast that I need low, so that we keep set levels low. There's only 2 or 3 sets that I'm going to need to build. We're going to do it all on a stage. We're going to do it locally here in Long Island. I've actually achieved, for the beginning, for phase 1 of this, I've achieved fiscal sponsorship from a charitable organization, and they're going to help me make the trailer and the short film all at once, so that we can possibly garner an actress to kind of, help us get going here, and then we could see where we're going from there. And of course, like Chris was saying earlier, we're heading to the point now where all of our short films were one day of filming. So, people show up, we do 14 hours, long day, very difficult, not something you'd want to do, day after day. So now we got to start paying people. So I'm trying to get everything to the point where we can start making, at least some money for sticking it out for longer than one day, which is going to be about 3 to 4 weeks.
And so I was a little confused, because I saw the video that you guys posted for The Chill, and I was under the impression that it was animation. Is it animation or live? Is it live action?
No, Alan's is animation. Mine is live action. But probably what confused you is some of the artwork that I had done.
Okay.
Concept art, which it is good that you brought up, because I definitely want to make sure that I clear it up and make it crystal clear that this is a live action film.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah.
Alan, what was it like working on this, and what are your hopes with The Chill?
Well, The Chill is co-produced by Tony and I, so I'm contributing the VFX. So any kind of VFX that I actually have a crew VFX people from around the world. Two are in Buenos Aires. One is out in the Midwest, and they are using a combination of Blender and DaVinci Resolve. They assist me in creating the VFX. And I composite the VFX into the live action. These artists get paid. They are not unpaid, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
For the chill, the opening sequence, trying to get things down to a low cost means really trying to cobble together assets that are online. Like, for instance, the ship somebody else had designed in 3D, that model. And the Starscape was somebody's HDRI Starscape, so that you could move and animate things and make them look real. The planet was from another artist. So really, the art in the technique in trying to make something look like it's photorealistic and real, like any kind of movie you'd see today, is to cobble together the assets, light them properly, and then do your best at making it look not lame, but really like it has some production quality. So there's people who help me do that, and people who get paid.
Okay, great. And it looks good from the video I saw. So I look forward to seeing the final product. Chris, what has been your involvement so far, or what is your expected involvement with the film?
I don't, I'm not sure. There isn't anything concrete yet. I mean, whatever it is they need from me, they have. Any experience that I can bring to them and help them, and if they need to make a decision, I'll say, hey, try this, try that, do this, do that. This is normal. This is not normal. Let's try the not normal way. That might be fun. Whatever they need.
Okay.
Yeah,
this has been great.
Yeah. No, it looks. I mean, I really, honestly want to see the final product, because I'm a big sci-fi nerd, as you can see from my background here. But yeah, it should be really exciting.
Is it a Star Wars poster on our right?
That's Empire Strikes Back.
Empire. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's Back to the Future right there. Yeah.
Got it.
There you go. Are you guys big sci-fi buffs? I'm assuming, Tony, you are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
From way back.
Yeah. Are there any filmmakers that have inspired your works to date?
Me, definitely. Carpenter.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, Ridley Scott for the most part, but his early stuff, not his latest stuff. Of course Spielberg. I mean, all the big shots.
Yeah.
And then some that are not so big too that influence you. It's great to see some people's master classes on how they do filmmaking and all. But I mean, I've learned so much just from me and Alan researching, and then of course Chris, who has way more experience than we do in the field. Basically, it comes down to people. It comes down to people that you surround yourself with, and that's how you make these films. It's not so much about your camera, it's not about your light, or it's really not about all that stuff. It's about your story.
Yep.
And the people that you surround yourself with. And these guys have been great. I'm hopefully Chris can do a lot for me with this, with the chill, and
anything you need, whatever you need.
He has a great eye for director of photography, that kind of stuff. So, we're going to get it done.
Okay. And another question for everybody, Chris, starting with you: how important is collaboration in your work?
It's everything. You can't do it alone. You got to have the people who have the passion and who have the know-how. Mm-hmm. And if they don't have the know-how, they need the passion. And, you get it done. You got to have people.
Yeah. And
that's something we do have. We got a great, great group of people. And we all became very, very good friends.
We have barbecues every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We come to a barbecue, and then a little stupid short film will break out.
This is what people. It's not about charades. It's about creating a little 5-minute short at the barbecue. So there's always cameras there, and there's always impromptu stuff going on.
So we've got so much more to go.
Yeah.
To increase our product, our production quality.
Mm-hmm. You barely scratched the surface, but I think you're on your way to something really special. So guys, what do you hope audiences take away from your films? Alan? Well,
my film is a live-action animated, like Paddington, and so it's a family-friendly fantasy. So I'm actually more into the drama part of it. So family drama, family relationships, as expressed through a film, which is fantasy. Mm-hmm. So where my heart is in at least this project is having an idea for a film, a notion for a film that people come away from the theater saying, I never thought my relationship was like that with one of, in my case, the film is a relationship between a mom and a daughter. Mm-hmm. So I want people to come away thinking about their relationships with other members of the family in ways that they haven't thought of. Okay. So it's the theme of the film, which is important to me.
And those characters in that film are right behind Alan's right shoulder, our left. And if you look at that flower,
it's adorable.
There is some amazing expression on that flower. And the story, I had the privilege of reading that script. It is,
thanks, Chris.
It really, really, really is as good or better than anything you'd see from Disney or Pixar. That is going to be a huge movie. Huge.
It's a return to old Disney.
I love it.
Terrific.
Disney. Late 80s, early 90s.
Terrific.
Yeah, exactly.
It does have a little bit of a Beauty and the Beast, that chipped cup in Beauty and the Beast.
Sure.
Yeah, really endearing.
Exactly. But I got some good talent on this film. One of the main characters is a 12, 13-year-old girl. She's been in Annie in local theater. And most of the other talent I've gotten from backstage, which
a co-writer too,
source. Okay. And yes, exactly.
Tony, were you involved in The World I See?
No, well, a little bit, just helping him with some test footage and stuff, whatever he needs.
It's the test footage.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
But just whatever. I give him my suggestion, and usually it's not exactly my genre. To help him with. I try. It doesn't mean I won't tell him what I think.
That's right, and you do, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm more into science fiction than Tony is into my genre.
So guys, lastly, I'd like to ask you: are there any other projects that you haven't mentioned today that you'd want to plug right now? Anything you want to mention?
I'm writing a superhero feature.
Okay.
It's not titled yet, and that's all I can say is it's a superhero.
Okay.
I'm not sure of the age group so far. It's like teenagers, and the only reason I chose that is because they spend money watching movies.
Yeah.
Although now the world has changed, right? So we don't know what's going to happen. So, but it's really, really cool stuff and funny as hell.
You can't go wrong with a superhero movie.
No, horrific. And, just wait till you just see the trailer for this. You're going to be like, oh, my God, it's really slick.
Maybe I'll have you back on and you can talk about it.
Absolutely. Hey, Randy, what are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
You're looking at it.
Besides the show, are you a filmmaker?
No, I'm a critic and an interviewer.
Oh, okay.
That's basically that's my profession, and I have a day job too. So.
Oh, good job.
Yeah,
Ghostbuster. He's a Ghostbuster.
And I'm also part of the Ghostbusters. Yeah, charity group.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean charity group?
So basically, we dress up. It's a bunch of guys in their 30s. We go to like parades, events, schools, libraries, and we teach kids how to make slime. It's basically a chemistry education. And people like to take pictures with us. It's a goof. It's a lot of fun.
That's good. You don't actually go into houses and
No, we're not that intense, not yet. But you never know. Hey, we'll see.
That's great.
So Tony, any other projects you want to talk about, or?
That's just what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
The chillmovie.com. There's a lot of people right now that, probably actors or even producers who aren't able to do much right now.
Yeah.
With the coronavirus.
Right.
So if anybody wants to come on board with us, we're set up. Donations, IMDb credits, we got all that.
Yeah.
So thechillmovie.com if you want to learn some more and get together with us. We're especially local filmmakers. We can, if you really have a passion for getting onto a set with us, there's definitely possibilities for that. Hopefully by the end of the year.
And I guess Zoom will be that set, that studio.
Seems like
who knows?
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a challenge, right? Trying to get people together. Hopefully this will be over, and believe me, I have talent in the wings saying to me, how are we going to do all our reading, our table reads, and our rehearsals? And I'm saying we're going to do them over Zoom.
Yeah, that's really all you can do.
Next few months, that's what we have to do.
Unless you guys get hazmat suits, I don't know.
Then it'll be a different story.
Right. So, Alan, is there anything other than The World I See you want to promote?
Well, we have a sequel, which what co-writer and I are just thinking about. So it may turn out to be more of a 3-part series, streaming, than it will be a feature. So the challenge there is, having things stand on their own, but yet lead into a sequel.
Great.
So I'm going to be writing the second part probably starting at the end of the year.
Okay, great. And I just want to add that aside from the animation, the score, from what I heard from the video, it's gorgeous. It's a great score.
I have, that's another kind of a Zoom experience. So my composer is in New York City.
Okay.
And he actually was on YouTube for a long time. His name was JDR Composer, and he played with Wynton Marsalis at age 14.
Wow.
and he was put a lot of, he's got a music rig, which he composes, and it sounds just like an orchestra. It's amazing.
That's cool.
One-man orchestra.
I love it.
It really is. He's got a very high-end rig with very high-end samples. And what he did was, over the years, he put probably 100 videos with his music on YouTube on that channel. And I had been following him for a couple of years, and I said, Jonathan, do you want to? How much would you charge to do a 3-minute intro to my film? And I directed, as a director, you have to direct the composer.
Yeah.
And so we directed this in real time over Zoom while he scored parts of the video that I had.
Huh.
And again, it's a collaboration. I'll often say, I'd like this instrument here, or I'd like it to sound like this, and he's able to do that.
Right.
So he works professionally, works in commercials, and this is actually his full-time job.
Okay. Well, he did a great job from what I saw. So kudos to him and you.
He'll be glad to hear that.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you again. This was amazing. This was a great night, and I want to thank you and wish all of you well. I want to hope everyone's safe and healthy at home, and best of luck on your films.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Thanks so much.
Take care.
All right, guys. So I'm your host, Randy Unger, and this has been Under the Radar. Thanks for watching.